From the moment you wake up, the day begins with pouring cereal into bowls, picking up yesterday's toys, and making sure everyone has what they need. Later, it's wiping down counters, folding piles of laundry, and trying to keep up with the constant rhythm of meals and messes. By evening, your body is tired, your mind is stretched thin, and you fall into bed knowing tomorrow will start all over again. But in the quiet moments, you can't help but ask yourself, is this truly all there is to being a wife, a mother, and a homemaker? Just ending every day weary and worn out? What if I told you that God designed your role as a homemaker to be far more than chores, far more than surviving the hustle, that being a keeper of your home carries eternal weight in the kingdom of God, and once you see it, you'll never look at your role the same way again? And if you love being encouraged to live out your true biblical role, then I'd love for you to press that like and subscribe button to join this community. My channel is all about loving and honoring God through just being a wife, a mother, and a homemaker. You might have adapted to the world's view of homemaking, which is nothing more than a never-ending cycle of hustle and chores. The world's view is about how much you can get done in a day. If the meals are cooked, the laundry is folded, and the floors are mopped, then you're seen as successful. But if you're behind or the house looks lived in, you might feel that you're failing. But according to that view, homemaking is only about productivity, appearances, and whether your house looks Instagram worthy. That's the trap so many wives fall into, believing homemaking is just about keeping up with chores. But that view leaves us drained, questioning your worth, and wondering if all your efforts even matter. And I'm here to tell you, there is something deeper, something sacred that God has placed in your hands. When God calls you to be a keeper of the home in Titus 2 verse 4-5, He is giving you a role of eternal significance. The phrase keeper at home literally means guardians of the home. It means creating a place of peace, a safe covering for your family. It means serving your husband with respect, ministering your children with tenderness, and guarding their hearts and minds from the things of the world that could harm them. It also means keeping order in your home, not just physically, but spiritually, so that the atmosphere within your walls reflects the goodness of God. And at the very heart of it all is this: to honor God through your role as a wife, a mother, and a homemaker. Because every meal you cook with love, every prayer you whisper over your children, every act of service you pour out, hear me when I say this, it is not wasted. Through serving your family, you are ultimately serving God and walking in His beautiful design. Every act of care, whether it's prayer whispered in the kitchen or a bedtime story told with patience, becomes an offering of worship. This is the true beauty of biblical homemaking. It is kingdom work. It's about living out your calling with dignity, purpose, and joy. And it matters deeply to God. He designed it this way, and He created you for this. I know how draining it feels to carry the weight of wanting to be the virtuous wife, the gentle mother, and the hard-working homemaker without knowing what it exactly requires of you and how to lean fully on the Lord. That's why I created my free webinar, because you don't need to keep living in a cycle of weariness and frustration. You don't need to feel stuck between wanting to honor God but not knowing how to do this by just being a wife and mother. In my webinar, I share the exact steps that help me align with God's design to overcome weariness and step into my role of being a biblical wife, mother, and homemaker, and how to live in that joy with God even if your circumstances don't change. It's completely free and you can sign up through the link below. I love to see you there. So, how do we actually live out this calling of being a biblical homemaker? It begins the moment you open your eyes in the morning with God. Starting your day in His presence changes everything. I like to begin by surrendering my home to Him, along with surrendering my husband, surrendering my child, and then surrendering myself. Every morning, I consciously give God the reins over my day, over my choices, and over my family. When I do this, I know that my family is safe and my day will flow according to God's will. Being the keeper of your home is about spiritual protection and guidance. One of the most important ways we do this is through prayer. I pray for my family daily, like I just mentioned. I surrender them, but I also ask God to guard their hearts, to guard their minds, and to guard their steps. Because being keeper of the home, it is part of my role to cover them spiritually. But as you know, we cannot do this in our own strength. We rely completely on God's strength and His protection, trusting Him to keep our family safe. And that's why we do this through prayer. Now, I take prayer seriously because I know our God is listening and He answers our prayers. So, this morning time with God spent in prayer should not be rushed. I wish everyone could understand this. This is the most sacrificing thing you can do as a wife, mother, and homemaker. It is to give up time to pray over your family. And of course, it's not really a sacrifice because you get to spend time with our wonderful God. But my point that I'm trying to make is, don't rush your time with God. If you ever feel that you don't have time to spend in prayer or to pray over your family, you have to check your priorities. You have to realign them correctly. You have to carve away time from the laundry or dishes and put that time towards God. Because this is your calling as a biblical homemaker. This is the heart of biblical homemaking. Actively loving, caring for, and protecting your family through prayer, knowing that God has placed this responsibility in your hands. You don't take it lightly. You honor this role and you step into your God-given authority and serving Him in a way that impacts eternity. Now, let's talk about your day, the hustle we are in, the world's view of trying to see how much we can do in a day. Most of us plan our days, sometimes down to the last second. Now, I want to remind you that the Lord cares about your day, even to how you spend your last second. You can plan your day carefully, write your to-do list, and organize your schedule. But here is what set us apart from the world. Proverbs 16 verse 3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. You can plan your day, but the key is, as a biblical homemaker, to submit those plans to God. I am curious to know, have you ever committed your daily plan, your schedule, or your routine to God? Comment down below because I would love to know. If you haven't, you can ask God to guide you. Lord, is there anything in my day I need to move or change? Are these plans too much? Will my day flow in the way that you want it to? And then be still and listen. If you don't listen, how do you expect to hear God's answer? God is a living God, and He longs to interact with us, to speak into the details of our lives. So never forget to be quiet and to listen. When we plan without God, our days can easily turn into a hustle, a race to do everything and check off the list. But when we plan with God, surrendering each task, each hour, each responsibility, He guides us. He knows what's best for us, what's best for our family, and what will honor Him the most. When we begin our days like this, it stops being just a list of chores and responsibilities. It becomes a rhythm of His guidance, His presence, and His peace. So today, I want to encourage you, start your day with God, submit your plans to Him, and watch how He takes even ordinary moments, making meals, folding laundry, caring for your children, and turns them into acts of worship and kingdom work. And then I want to highlight, as homemakers, one of our most precious calling is to minister to our children. We can't leave it up to the church alone to teach them about Jesus. That responsibility and that privilege begins with us in the home. Ministering to our children always comes before the chores, because teaching them about the Lord is far more important than a spotless kitchen or folded laundry. Sometimes the housework can wait so that we can plant seeds of faith that will last for eternity. My little boy is 5, and I love doing Bible activities with him. I tell him a story from scripture, and then we'll follow it up with something simple and fun, an activity or a craft. And sometimes he turns the Bible stories into a play where he is one character and I'm the other one. And oh, this blesses my heart so much when he does this. But I also like to teach him short verses, although he is not yet that good in remembering them. But beyond the planned moments, it's really about the little opportunity that comes throughout the day. When we're playing outside and I see a butterfly, I'll say, "Look at how beautiful Jesus made this one." Or if we spot a bird, I'll remind him, "Isn't it amazing how God cares for His animals?" These tiny moments matter. They weave God's truth into the fabric of daily life, helping our children see God's hand in everything around them. So sometimes it's not even about putting time aside. It's sometimes just about being intentional with our words. Speaking to your children about God, telling your kids, "Wow, look at all the clothes that you have. The Lord has blessed us that we can have abundance of clothes, that we can wear clothes every day." This is the heart of biblical homemaking, creating a home where faith is lived out, spoken about, and celebrated. Because as mothers, we hold an incredible influence, the chance to point our children to Jesus in the ordinary, everyday moments that shape their hearts forever. And I just want to say, I am not perfect at this. Some days just fly by, and then at night I would think of all the moments I missed to plant little seeds of faith. But as God has grace for us, so we should have grace for ourselves. And as biblical homemakers, we must never forget that our ultimate role is to honor God through the way we serve our families. Every meal, every load of laundry, every bedtime story, every word of encouragement, these are not just tasks. They are acts of worship when we do them with our eyes on Jesus. Yes, the dishes will pile up. Yes, there will be days when you feel weary and unsure what to cook for dinner. But in those moments, remind yourself, I am serving the Lord through my family, and lift your heart to Him and say, "Lord, I feel tired, but I want to serve you joyfully. Strengthen me so I don't grow weary." And above all, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus. Don't let the storm of busyness, exhaustion, or discouragement pull you under. It's in the middle of the storm that you need to lock your gaze on Him the most, because with your eyes on Christ, your homemaking becomes more than survival. It becomes a testimony of faith, love, and obedience. Before you go, I want to invite you to watch the next video I've chosen for you. It's all about finding biblical peace for the anxious and overwhelmed homemaker. If you've ever felt heavy under the weight of your responsibility, this teaching will encourage you deeply. And one more thing. If today's message has stirred something in your heart, I'd love for you to join me in my free webinar. In it, I share the truths that will help you throw off burdens that you're unknowingly carrying. I give you practical tools to walk in joy, peace, and purpose as the wife and mother God designed you to be. You'll find the link down below in the description. It's completely free and I can't wait to see you there. If you haven't, please press that like and subscribe button and share it with another wife who might need this encouragement today. Thank you for watching and may you have a blessed day.